Welcome to Streaming News Network by Claude McDaniel. News without the hype and biased reporting. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A former senior United States government official with top-secret security clearance is facing federal charges after investigators uncovered what prosecutors describe as an extraordinary cache of wealth inside his Virginia home. Federal authorities arrested David J. Rush on May 19. Court records allege he fraudulently obtained government funds while portraying himself as a highly decorated Navy Reserve captain and Air Force test pilot. Investigators say the case came to light after Rush requested large amounts of foreign currency and tens of millions of dollars in gold bars, claiming the assets were needed for official work-related expenses. During a Federal Bureau of Investigation search of his home, agents reportedly discovered approximately 331 kilogram gold bars valued at roughly $40 million, along with $2 million in cash and 35 luxury watches. Court documents also allege Rush misrepresented his military service, educational background, and professional qualifications. Investigators say he falsely claimed degrees from Clemson University and Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, while both schools reportedly told authorities they have no record of his attendance. Prosecutors further allege Rush improperly received about $77,000 in military leave benefits by claiming he remained an active Navy Reserve captain years after his military service had ended. Rush remains in federal custody. A judge has found probable cause for the case to proceed, with the matter now expected to be presented to a grand jury. This is Streaming News Network. A controversial clemency decision in Minnesota is drawing renewed attention to the state's immigration and criminal justice policies. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has approved a pardon for Jai Vang, a Laotian national who was convicted in 1994 of aiding and abetting an armed robbery in Hennepin County when he was 18 years old. Vang served his prison sentence and had no subsequent criminal convictions. Earlier this year, he was taken into custody by Immigration and Customs Enforcement during a federal enforcement operation in the Minneapolis area. Facing possible deportation, Vang sought clemency from the state. According to state officials, Governor Walz called a special session of Minnesota's Clemency Review Commission so the request could be considered before deportation proceedings moved forward. The commission, which included Attorney General Keith Ellison and Chief Justice Natalie Hudson, voted unanimously to grant the pardon. Supporters of the decision cited Vang's decades without further criminal offenses, his family ties, and his ownership of a local painting business. During the hearing, Walz described Vang as an important member of the community and questioned whether deportation would benefit public safety or the state's economy. The decision comes amid ongoing tensions between Minnesota officials and federal immigration authorities. Walz has previously criticized federal immigration enforcement operations, comments that prompted public criticism from Immigration and Customs Enforcement leadership. This is Streaming News Network. A new national poll is offering an early look at the political landscape for the 2028 presidential race, and the results suggest Republicans currently hold a strong advantage. According to the latest Emerson College survey, Vice President J.D. Vance remains the leading choice among Republican voters, earning 36% support. However, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has made significant gains, climbing to 35% and narrowing the gap to just 1 point. The poll marks a major shift from February, when Vance held a commanding lead at 52% and Rubio trailed at 20%. Rubio's rise comes as he continues to play a prominent role in the Trump administration's foreign policy efforts. On the Democratic side, no potential candidate reached 20% support in a crowded field of possible contenders. California Governor Gavin Newsom remained among the top Democratic names but slipped 4 points from earlier polling, while former Vice President Kamala Harris also saw a modest decline. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear posted small gains, moving into double-digit or near double-digit territory. Other Republicans, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley, Senator Ted Cruz, and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., all polled below 5%. Several other Democratic hopefuls also remained in the single digits. While the election remains more than 2 years away, the survey suggests the Republican field is beginning to consolidate around two leading contenders. This is Streaming News Network. Reality television personality Amanda Conner is speaking publicly after her recent arrest in Tennessee on charges that include driving under the influence, child abuse or neglect, and driving on the wrong side of the roadway. In a video posted to social media, Connor acknowledged that she had relapsed after 3 years of sobriety and took responsibility for her actions. The 35-year-old, who shares a 14-month-old daughter with husband Ryan Edwards and married him last September, said addiction can affect people regardless of how long they have remained sober or how much progress they have made in rebuilding their lives. Connor also apologized to her supporters and family, saying she feels disappointed, ashamed, and determined to make amends. She described the relapse as a setback but insisted it will not define her future. According to Connor, she is already dealing with the legal consequences stemming from her arrest and was preparing to meet with an attorney when she recorded the video. She told followers she plans to document her recovery journey openly, promising an honest look at the challenges of overcoming addiction and getting back on track. Connor concluded by saying she remains committed to her sobriety and intends to continue fighting for her recovery despite the difficulties ahead. This is Streaming News Network. Veteran television journalist Sharon Alfonsi has reportedly been dismissed from CBS News following a public dispute with network leadership over editorial decisions and the future direction of its news division. According to multiple media reports, Alfonsi's departure comes just days after she sharply criticized CBS management when her contract was not renewed. The longtime correspondent had reportedly remained employed on an at-will basis after her agreement expired. The controversy stems in part from a report Alfonsi produced about El Salvador's high-security Secot prison. She publicly objected after the segment was reportedly removed from the broadcast schedule late last year. In a statement released this week, Alfonsi said efforts by her representatives to discuss a new contract received no response from network executives. She argued that her departure was not part of a routine restructuring but instead reflected what she described as a broader shift away from independent journalism. Alfonsi also accused CBS management of weakening the separation between editorial decision-making and corporate interests, warning that journalists willing to challenge those in power could be increasingly sidelined. The award-winning correspondent concluded her statement by thanking her colleagues and encouraging journalists to continue pursuing accountability reporting despite growing pressures within the industry. CBS News has not publicly commented on the specific allegations contained in Alfonsi's statement. This is Streaming News Network. Authorities in western Michigan are investigating a deadly house explosion that they now believe may have been part of an apparent murder-suicide attempt. 62-year-old Doug Preston was killed when a powerful explosion destroyed the couple's home in Plainfield Township at approximately 4 o'clock Tuesday morning. His wife, 61-year-old Lucy Preston, survived but suffered what officials described as catastrophic injuries and was rescued from the rubble. Investigators are still working to determine the exact cause of the blast. While fire officials have indicated that a natural gas leak may have played a role, law enforcement authorities say evidence suggests the fire was intentionally set. According to investigators, text messages recovered during the investigation support the theory that the incident was domestic-related and may have been intended as a murder-suicide. Court records show Lucy Preston filed for divorce in March after nearly 40 years of marriage. The couple was reportedly scheduled to appear in court later this week and would have marked their 40th wedding anniversary just days after the explosion. At the time of the incident, the couple was subject to mutual court restrictions related to their ongoing divorce proceedings. Neighbors expressed shock over the tragedy, describing the Prestons as a longtime couple whose relationship appeared stable until recent months. The blast also damaged nearby homes, shattering windows and leaving residents shaken. The investigation remains ongoing. This is Streaming News Network. New questions are being raised about the death of wrestling legend and WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan after his daughter, Brooke Hogan, publicly voiced concerns about the circumstances surrounding his passing. Speaking during a recent radio interview alongside an attorney, Brooke Hogan said she still has unanswered questions regarding her father's death, estate matters, and official records related to the case. Hulk Hogan died in July of 2025 at the age of 71. Authorities ruled his death the result of natural causes linked to a heart attack. However, Brooke Hogan claims she has been unable to obtain certain records, including the autopsy report, and questioned why revisions were allegedly made to documentation months after his death. She also raised concerns about a nurse who was reportedly present when Hogan died, alleging that efforts to contact that individual have been unsuccessful. During the interview, an attorney accompanying Brooke Hogan said some aspects of the case appeared unusual based on his professional experience, including questions surrounding the completion of the death certificate. Despite the concerns being raised, no official evidence has emerged challenging the medical examiner's conclusion that Hogan died of natural causes. Brooke Hogan also discussed stepping away from her role in administering her father's estate and criticized a recent documentary project about his life, arguing that it failed to address some of the more difficult chapters of his story. This is Streaming News Network. A Colorado family is mourning the sudden loss of a father of 7 who suffered a fatal medical emergency while hiking one of the state's most challenging trails. 48-year-old Nick Jogalev collapsed Saturday while climbing the Manitou Incline near Colorado Springs, a steep route known for its nearly 2,800 steps and demanding elevation gain. According to family members, Jogalev was participating in a Cub Scouts outing with his 9-year-old son when he began experiencing distress around the 900th step. A fellow hiker reportedly noticed he appeared unwell and offered assistance. Moments later, he collapsed. His wife, Coral Jogalev, said her husband was an experienced hiker who trained regularly for the annual trek and maintained a healthy lifestyle. She noted that several medical professionals and first responders happened to be nearby when the emergency occurred, but despite their efforts, he could not be saved. The official cause of death has not yet been determined, and the family is awaiting autopsy results. Friends describe Jogalev as a devoted husband and father whose 7 children were the center of his life. He worked in information technology and served as the primary provider for his family. A fundraising campaign established to assist the family has already raised tens of thousands of dollars as they face both emotional and financial challenges in the wake of the tragedy. Comedian and actor Bill Cosby is reportedly facing increasing financial pressure as legal judgments and ongoing litigation continue to mount. According to real estate listings, Cosby has significantly reduced the asking price of his Manhattan townhouse. The property was initially listed for nearly $7 million last year but has since undergone multiple price reductions, bringing the current asking price to just under $6 million. The development follows a California civil court judgment earlier this year awarding $59 million to a woman who accused Cosby of sexually assaulting her in the early 1970s. Cosby has denied the allegations. The former television star has faced accusations of sexual misconduct from dozens of women over the years. In 2018, he was convicted in a separate criminal case involving former Temple University employee Andrea Constan. That conviction was later overturned, resulting in his release from prison. In addition to legal expenses, Cosby has reportedly faced financial disputes involving loans secured by the New York property. Court filings have alleged defaults on millions of dollars in borrowing connected to the townhouse. Once estimated to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars during the height of his career, reports now suggest Cosby's financial position has declined substantially amid years of legal battles. This has been a report by Claude McDaniel of Streaming News Network.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and shorts. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.